The All Progressives Congress Voice of Progressive Youth has called on President Bola Tinubu and the APC National Working Committee to review the zoning arrangements for the leadership position of the National Assembly. Speaking at a press conference in Kaduna, the APC Youth Group says the North Central has been left out in the zoning arrangement and wants the Deputy Senate President slot to go to the region.
The composition of the National Assembly without the North Central is going to be a serious miscalculation and a political blunder for both government and the party. Therefore, at this juncture, we are advising Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to use his political skills and dexterity to balance the equation by including the North Central and making sure that no zone is left out in the sharing of position in the National Assembly leadership. We equally call on the senators-elect to support and vote for Senator Sani Musa as Deputy Senate President.
Well, the course looking clearer for Tajuddin Abbas and Ben Kalu to become the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the 10th Assembly. Can there be any more surprises on Tuesday? Can any other contender for the speakership position spring a surprise? Well, joining us now in the studio is Adamu Garba, a former presidential aspirant and a member of the APC Stability Group. Very warm welcome to Newsnight.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Yeah, you guys have been lobbying a lot, and lobby in this part, and of course in many parts of the world, always involves financial inducements and the rest. Is that what we've seen today? I mean, for Betera and Gagdi to have stepped down, for Abbas, for the leadership of the House of Representatives?
No, I don't think there's any financial inducement. I think it's a statesmanly action. And all of us in this country cannot disconnect ourselves with the fact that the last 12 days of Tinubu administration displays high level of preparedness, readiness, competency, and organization to put Nigeria on the path to progress, development, and prosperity. All of us are aware of that. So with this, every responsible citizen of the country, especially our distinguished members of the House of Reps and the senators, will want to come together to see what they can do to support the zoning arrangement endorsed by the party and endorsed by our president. And I believe it is in line with that and in line with the national stability and unity of the country. That is why you see Honorable Betera and Honorable Yusuf Gagdi decided to go with the decisions of the party being supreme and also being the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has shown that for the first time, Nigeria can actually take its own destination, its destinies, to the destination it wants to go to. So everyone is trying to rally and support him. And that is why we are looking forward to the same thing happening in the Senate.
You're talking about stability and unity of the country, but the pan-deaf leader, elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, doesn't seem to agree, particularly when you look from the president to the Chief Justice and, of course, the consensus candidate now for the 10th House of Representatives are all Muslims. Where's the place of Christian? What is stabilizing in this?
In fact, it is one of the major reasons why Akpabio became the perfect fit and the most competent and the person to provide the national stability when he had the chairmanship of the 10th National Assembly. That is why it went to him. And if you listen to the speech of the elder statesman Edwin Clark, he mentioned very, very clearly that arranging the Muslims is not going to be good for the stability of the country. And that is why he himself is endorsing His Excellency Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio as the president of the Senate of the 10th Assembly. This is clearly going to bring the stability we need in the country.
But Yari and Barao are still, saying no.
No, not Barao. Barao is the deputy Senate president under
Akpabio. Yeah.
So in fact,
Yari, Yari, is still hell-bent of becoming the president of, or contesting the position.
Yeah, this is the beauty of democracy, and I know that he knows
How
that he's not going to
destabilizing
win.
can that be?
It is very destabilizing. Why? Because the elders of the country has foreseen these things. I particularly, was pushing for the Senate presidency of Barrow Jibril when he came out for the first time, anchoring the same agenda that Yari and his team are doing now. Northern requirement to be at the center, this. But when the elders spoke, and they give empirical evidence that is gearing towards building the nation we want, the stability we demand for us to be able to put forward our progress in this country. We all aligned. And that is even the reason why distinguished Senator Barrow Jibril decided, despite the fact that he's highest ranking member in the current Senate, he decided to say, no, let me back the president choice. Let us all follow behind the president choice. So a situation whereby some, people within the Senate are trying to display some iota of rebellion. I think they will face their Waterloo on the 13th.
Okay, that's just about 48 hours from now. Yeah. It's all right. We'll be back shortly, Adamu, to continue with the discussion, and Arise analyst Frank Tietie, a lawyer, will be joining us. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be back. You're welcome back. Are you still watching Newsnight live from Nigeria's capital in Abuja? We're still discussing the leadership of the 10th Assembly, which will be inaugurated in another 48 hours. And joining us now alongside Adamu Garba, who is a member of the APC Stability Group, is Frank Tietie, a lawyer and a Rise analyst. Frank, I'm sure you've been following the narrative about the leadership contestation in the National Assembly. The executive have brokered a kind of truce between the contenders, and the coast is clear for Abbas to emerge as the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. How healthy is this for our democracy, or the relationship between the three arms of government?
Oh, well, straight answer to your question is that it's unhealthy. We're running a democracy, and the essence of having the three separate branches of government is to ensure that there is checks and balances. The principle of checks and balances is actually allowed to prevail. In this case, where we've seen this brazen on mistaken, intervention of the executive, of the president in determining those who become the leaders of the National Assembly is dangerous to democracy. That signals.
Can that be seen as dictatorial?
Of course, yes, because I have alluded several times in my positions that the death of democracy has always been preceded by using the very institutions of democracy, the very processes of democracy to achieve a dictatorial status. And that's what happens. So a situation where you can't, where the president, in the principle of allowing party supremacy and then also extending it to zoning, but being so unprecedented in the sense that we are not having names being mentioned. So it would have been more comfortable if the idea is that let's have the 6 geopolitical zones settled with the leadership, with the 4 personalities of the leadership of the National Assembly. Now, because in this case it's easy because you already have 2 geopolitical zones already settled with the presidency and the vice presidency. And then when you move on, you would have expected that, for example, when you talk about Senate presidency and your zoning is in South-South, you don't have to mention a name because you don't have to think that the only towering personality that emanates from the South-South is Senator Godswill Akpabio. No, there is a Senator Adams Oshiomhole as well. It doesn't matter whether you say is he a ranking senator, because the Constitution does not recognize anything of a ranking nature. So if you talk about, I'm not here, I'm not an apologist of Adams Oshiomhole in any way. The party has not even pushed him. But I'm trying to say that it's important that the party ought not to have gone to this line of divisiveness when it began to name names.
But that's what we've been saying since 1999, at the advent of this democracy, when the Southeast produced almost 5 president of the Senate.
Yes, because understandably it's a matter of zoning, and that gives the credit to PDP, and it's called geopolitical balancing, and that's what Nigeria needs. I think we should play down these religious and ethnic considerations. Rather, we have an unwritten rule that there is supposed to be a 6th geopolitical arrangement that gives that sense of balance. And that's what I think we should adopt. The party ought to know that better, but it made the mistake of mentioning individual names. Of course, definitely, North Central needs to be settled, Northwest, and then South.
North Central has the position of SGF already.
No, we're talking about the leadership of the National Assembly is crucial. We're not talking about positions that are appointable, that the president can wake up one morning and fire. We're talking about a very crucial institution of democracy, which is the National Assembly. You don't joke with that, and you don't subject that to this unnecessary politicking, which we have never seen before. You need to go to the streets of Abuja and in some other places and see posters littering everywhere as if they are having a second round of presidential campaign. It's embarrassing. And this is all because the president is bent on ensuring that he has his way. The president so far has shown to Nigerians that he's a man of his words and that he means well, but this intervention of ensuring that he controls the National Assembly absolutely is not good for democracy.
They say it's not good for democracy, Adamu, that it probably could create some kind of high-handedness, or, Mr. President has said it, so we just pass the bill and not, using the fine tooth comb to go through there.
You see, I disagree with this 100%. Why? Because our democracy have grown so mature. We are now having 7 successful transfer of power. And this is the 9th or the 10th. We are talking about the 10th National Assembly. So it's time for us to run away from activist-driven National Assembly to more conforming National Assembly that is built on complementarity, on the principle of mutual obligation and reciprocal commitment to be able to drive government agenda towards success. A situation whereby we are just, no, we need National Assembly that will be saying we are not agreeing, we disagree with the policies of president, we don't want the bill to be passed. It doesn't make sense. Even the last successes that was recorded with the last administration of the APC of President Muhammadu Buhari, it was recorded during the 2019 and 2023 elections. Why? Because there is a comfortable, compatible, complementary National Assembly that help to drive government agenda. But the situation whereby we have a president that he himself said meant well for the country, had proper plan, obviously have a vision. When you look at the New Road Manifesto, it's a roadmap to driving Nigeria from the position where we are to the position where all of us want to be. So if this president is saying, let us work together in harmony with the National Assembly that will give me the backing, that will drive the agenda that is good for all Nigerians, why should I say it? It doesn't make sense that we need somebody that will now come up and be saying we don't agree in the red chamber. No, it doesn't make sense. I think it is high time for us to be more mature. I think it's high time for us to have stability, to have a smooth running of government whereby government agenda are going to be implemented and generality of Nigerians are going to benefit from the success of government.
So where is this activism disposition coming from?
Let me tell you, we make a mistake when we think that the basic role of the National Assembly is to make law. Section 88 of the Constitution imposes on the National Assembly as having the most important role of anti-corruption. That is, for every money it appropriates, it has the responsibility to investigate the way it is used. So the oversight function of the National Assembly is very important. What does the National Assembly oversees? It is the executive. So according to Professor Odin Kalu, uses the word, he said, do you want us to have a paddy kind of National Assembly where that everything the president does or anything the executive does, the DG, the minister or whatever does, is in order, and then you just take it. So that ability of the National Assembly to scrutinize the executive is what's important. And then you talk about activism. It is not about activism, it is about fighting corruption, because the principal agency, the principal institution of that is anti-corruption in this country is National Assembly. So how do you now allow a president who appoints ministers who have the director generals and ministers operating under him to now have men that he controls in the National Assembly? No, it is not healthy. It cannot be healthy. When it comes to bill, you think it's about sectionalism or it's about party interest. No, it's about the interest of Nigeria. And that's the reason reason why you can see that there is a bill, the electricity reform bill, can be easily assented to by a new president, because it's about Nigeria's interest. So let's downplay the idea of activists or we against them, forgetting the fact that we are one country. We must promote that. But in the spirit of ensuring that monies that are appropriated by the National Assembly are appropriately used in the interest of Nigerians, then you must have a very, very strong, active, and a circumspect National Assembly, not the one that takes orders from the party chairman, or not the one that takes orders from the president, not the one. I mean, do you now want us to refer to President Tinubu as a king of this country because he has said it, everything must just go that way? We need to have robust debates, the same way we see in the British Parliament. So why are we trying to abuse presidentialism as if it's a way of not creating a new emperor over Nigeria because he has said that this should be and it must always be? We need a robust National Assembly that actually is operating the principle of checks and balances, not against not region versus region, but absolutely in the interest of our people. That's what the National Assembly represents. It represents the Republic of Nigeria, the Republic. That is, represents the public. It is direct representation of the over 200 million Nigerians. You don't give that that kind of institution to the control of the man who is president, not even the party. It's not fair.
All right, gentlemen, I wish we have time enough. I know, Adamu, you still have one or two things to say. But most unfortunately, we do not have time. There'll be more interrogations before the 48 hours mark. All right? Thank you very much, Adamu Garba, member of the APC Strategy Group, and Frank Tietie, a Rise analyst and lawyer.